This is Mark Dempsey from National Convergence Technology Center, welcoming you to today's presentation of Essential Strategies for Successful Social Media Outreach. So if you haven't already, please put your name and your school in the chat box there so you have a good record of attendance. There should be time at the end for Q&A. So any questions or comments pop up, please put those in the chat box, and Christine and I will make sure that our speaker hears those. Then also, please, there will be a very short survey at the very end here, just like 3 or 4 questions. We'd love to get your feedback on that. Okay, so our presenter today is Maddie Witt. She's a content creator and social media specialist at Nelly Group, LLC. Maddie's area of expertise taps into developing industry-relevant content that hones in on the power of social media engagement through effective distribution on platforms like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. So Maddie really helped us here at the CTC with our social media over the last year or so. We learned a lot of great practices from her. So we're very glad that she could share her expertise with us today. So I'm glad she said yes. Okay.
Thank you, Mark, for introducing me. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Maddie Witt. As Mark said, I'm with Nelly Group, LLC, and I have worked in the social media realm professionally for about 4 to 5 years, and have naturally grown up with a lot of these platforms for the last 10, 15 years. So with that, I've been able to see a lot of the changes that different platforms have had, and kind of seen how best to adjust to these platform changes more naturally, and also what strategies work best for different platforms. So yeah, today I'm going to talk to you guys about some different social media strategies. Specifically, I'm gearing a lot of this towards IT faculty because I know a lot of you are in the IT faculty realm. But if I don't touch on something, or if I don't, maybe you're not in the IT realm and you just have some questions, save those at the end. And I'd love to dive in more. As I'm sure you guys know, social media is a huge umbrella with a whole lot of information and content to be said about it. So I can only touch on so much in 20, 30 minutes. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, save any questions until the end. And yeah. So before we begin, I think it's pretty important to keep a couple of questions in mind as I'm going through some of these strategies, and just for you to kind of, just keep these questions in mind as you're going to create content even after this presentation. So something really important to understand is obviously, where are you posting from? So does your organization or your program have a social media platform already? If so, cool. Maybe your university is a bit more specific about the platforms or the profiles that are allowed to be created within the university's name. So maybe that's not something that you have. Are you posting as yourself, as a, Professor Smith is, posting, connecting with students as, their full authentic self, which is a really great engaging tool. That's something to keep in mind. Where are you posting from is going to differentiate how you post, especially when we're talking about different platforms as well. How you post on Twitter is very different from how you post on Instagram or LinkedIn. So whom are you trying to engage with as well? So are you trying to engage with the students that you have now, and really, get the current students that you have in your program more involved or more connected? Or are you trying to connect with other students or other people to get involved into your IT program? That's usually the big one for people. A lot of people in the IT realm, as I'm sure you all know, they don't necessarily start out in IT. So something like Twitter or LinkedIn would be a really great place for you to connect with those people, or potentially connect with persons that may not know that they're interested in IT yet. So who are you trying to engage with? And lastly, what do you want people to get from your content? Again, are you trying to get people to sign up for your program? Are you trying to better connect the program users that you already have? What's your goal here? These 3 questions, understanding these 3 questions, you may not have an exact answer for them right now, but just kind of keeping those in mind is really going to help you as you go to build out your content and go to try and connect with these people, whoever they may be. So we're talking about building out content. Now, I'm saying all of this with the understanding that you kind of already have a platform, some sort of a platform, you just don't really know which direction to take. So a content calendar is a great place to start. And lucky for you, if you're an IT faculty or some sort of a professor, you already have a course curriculum, which is a really great guide that you can use kind of as a content calendar. So let's say for a few months in September, or a few weeks in September, you're going to be talking about cloud security. For those few weeks on your social media page, whatever that page may be, you can focus on cloud security trivia. You could focus on, pull literally from your course content and verbatim, post some facts or post questions for people to interact with. Get your students, say, hey, I posted the question today. It's the first Wednesday of the month. I posted that question. Go answer it for an extra point on your quiz or something. Anything that's going to help you kind of organize your content and just make it a little bit easier for you. So you're not taking each week to go say, oh my gosh, what do I post this week? So this will kind of help you keep on track. And you can also add in, relevant holidays. So October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. That's a huge, huge month that there's so much content already built out for you. I know that the CISA, or Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency, has an entire marketing campaign already built out. I think it's hashtag more than a password. They have so much content out there that you can use and kind of pull from, tag them when you use it, obviously to help that growth, help those connections, which we'll dive into that networking side here in a second. But there's so much already out there for you. What you post doesn't necessarily have to just be pulled right out of a hat randomly every single week. There's so much out there that you can kind of pull from and look and see what other programs are doing. How are they building out their content calendar? How are they presenting information or trying to promote their programs? Pull from those. And something as basic as a content calendar will really help you with this organization of the content you're posting. So with that, within a content calendar, that goes hand in hand with posting regularly. So the algorithms, the funky algorithms that change always across these different platforms, really like it when you post regularly, not just once a month or so. That may seem a little daunting, 3 times a week per platform is the minimum. And that could seem pretty daunting. You're like, I don't have time for that. But I guarantee you have 30 minutes or so in a week to sit down and schedule out, use a scheduling app, something like HootSuite, that allows you to schedule those posts out every week. You could, looking at your content calendar, I know I am teaching cloud security or whatever it may be that week. So let's go ahead and throw down a couple of tweets that we can schedule around that. Anything that keeps your profile active is really going to help keep the content that you're, like when you do throw out content, is going to help keep it more engaged, because that platform is going to see, okay, well, they're posting regularly and people are engaging with it, so let's push their content higher. So making sure that you're posting regularly is a huge important thing when it comes to a successful social media profile. So again, something like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, something like that is really great in terms of maintaining that engagement and just being able to schedule it out so you don't have to worry about it throughout the week. So something here that I put together was just, this is directly from Hootsuite. So this is what the inside of a scheduling platform would look like. You have your ability to see the tweets that you send out, see your scheduled tweets. That's another stream here. Mentions, you have all your notifications here that you can interact with, your homepage, and there's even a section for you to network. So these different streams are all here right in one place for you, so you don't have to go between different apps and different navigate through one app or another, or whatever it may be. All your content is right here within the scheduling platform. All of the bits and pieces and features that you need to engage with to keep your platform successful or keep that profile successful are right here. Something I really enjoy about Hootsuite specifically is that you have these streams that you can add that are search term streams. So this is the CTC's Hootsuite account here. So you can see I have NSF funded as a search term. So that's something that we use, a hashtag that we use all the time. I put that under this search term here so that as other organizations or companies or what have you are using that same hashtag, I can kind of see what their content looks like. You can get inspiration from these as well. So can kind of scroll through here, interact with these, network with these other accounts. And the more networking and the more interaction that I do within streams like this are going to further help grow and put your profile on different areas of the platform. So therefore, hopefully, if you interact with one of these other profiles or other organizations, then that's going to put your account in the face of someone else who may not see you otherwise, just by simply liking or interacting. Or a lot of times in the IT realm specifically, I'm talking a lot about Twitter because that's huge for the IT industry, for professionals and students alike. A lot of times people will post when they complete a certification, and that's really exciting. All you have to do is just, respond back, say, hey, congratulations, Amber, it's a great certification. Way to continue your cyber journey, something like that. Just those little interactions that take a very little amount of time can really help grow your platform and make a huge difference, even though they seem really minuscule. So in all of that, kind of with the scheduling platform, we talk about networking a lot when it comes to social media. And when I say networking, I mean for a few minutes a day, could be less than 5 minutes. You could be standing in the line at a grocery store, or, just sitting down for a few minutes, networking on your account. So going through, whether it be on that scheduling platform, and going through those search topics, interacting like I was just explaining, or going through your topics on Twitter, you're going to find content that is relevant to your industry and is not only going to give you more opportunities to connect with people, but you're also going to get a lot of inspiration from other people that are, or other accounts that are posting the same exact things that you're trying to post, whether they're promoting programs or trying to get more people involved or whatever it may be. Those little, interacting with those topics, those hashtags, whatever those search terms are really going to help you grow. And that's why networking is so incredibly important. It's really easy to do on a daily basis. And I have here, this is just the CTC's basic Twitter feed here. And I show you how to get to topics. You have topics here on the side. I clearly already have tons of topics here laid out for CTC. And now this is something that when you add a topic, it's going to automatically insert those kinds of posts in your feed, within that main home feed. However, sometimes your home feed's just not doing it for you. So this is a really great section, again, for Twitter specifically, a really great spot to get down into the nitty gritty. You only have a few minutes. So you're like, I just really want to see what's going on with cybersecurity programs or machine learning, Microsoft, whatever it may be. Just click within one of these, any of these little topics here, and you'll see all of the relevant and latest content that has been shared within those realms. This, again, it seems like super simple stuff, but these following within these little topics or these search terms, and engaging with them, not just looking at them, but retweeting, favoriting, commenting back, quote tweeting, whatever they may be, engage in some way is going to continue putting your profile in the face of other people who may not see it otherwise and who are clearly interested in your content as well. It's the same people that are going to be going to the cybersecurity content, or the same kinds of people like you, the same people that you're trying to connect with. So again, very important in terms of keeping up a engaged profile. Doesn't take that long, and you can get a ton of inspiration from it as well. So let's say that a lot of this is really overwhelming to you and you're like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for social media. Maybe your program does have a social media page. You don't even have access to it, whatever it may be. Something really important to understand here is that you can get your students involved. And the great thing about that is that the students that you're getting involved are probably in the same mindset and in the same realm as the people that you're trying to connect with. So the content that they're going to be putting out, the content, how they write content or how they share things, is literally going to be how they want to see it, and how the students that you're wanting to connect with are going to want to see it as well and are going to be interested in interacting with it. So just an idea, you could work with your program, or whatever entity you're working with, work with your program, offer some credit hours or offer volunteer hours maybe for a student to take an hour a week to work on your social media pages. They can go off of that content calendar or that your course curriculum, and you can provide a couple topics for them each week or each month, and they can build out some content for you. Maybe you have certain programs that you're really wanting to promote over this few weeks, whatever it may be. Here, can you make a couple of posts regarding this program, whatever it may be. It's really a great way to kind of take some of the stress off of you and put it on someone who is already in these platforms as well, who is already, in there for leisure, not necessarily for trying to promote something. So yeah, a great option is getting those students involved if you can. And I just kind of went all over the place there for really quickly, but I did want to save a lot of time at the end for questions as well, because again, this is something there's so many topics and different things within this that within social media in general, that it's hard to just make a 20-30 minute presentation about it all. But before you leave, I did want to share that there's no immediate gratification when it comes to this. Now, I don't mean immediate gratification in the sense of when someone gets a like on their post, they get a little dopamine or serotonin boost and it's exciting and that's an immediate gratification. When I say no immediate gratification, I'm referring to growth. So if you take every single strategy that I gave you today and you implement them all, you're not going to see growth in the next month or 3 months, or maybe even 6 months. Sometimes accounts take, especially if it's a new account, it's going to take a year or two to see like real growth. Now, and especially if you don't hire a social media manager, which you probably won't, to maintain that page. So making sure that you understand that you need to have a little bit of grace on yourself and some patience with these platforms and patience with your content. Just stay consistent with it, post regularly, and you'll slowly begin to see that growth. Also understand that all of this is super time consuming. So again, give yourself some grace and maybe even an intern. If you have an intern that you hire to take over this, give them a little grace too, to understand that this is a really time-consuming task. And again, it's easier to relate to a person than it is a product. So posting as yourself, as Professor Smith, whatever, whoever you may be, posting as you and coming up as your full authentic self, and just trying to connect with your students in that way is going to go much further than trying to get them to connect with some entity that they don't have a face to. So yeah, those are some really good points to keep in mind here. And yeah, I guess I will just go ahead and move into questions.
This is Adam from Lansing Community
Yes, sir.
College. Just a quick question. In terms of focusing in specifically on a particular platform, what do you see as the big differences as we're really trying to cater towards each of those? So for instance, Insta, Twitter, etc. What type of differentiation do you consider when you're thinking, okay, I might tweak this subtly for one versus the other, that type of thing?
So something that's really helpful for me personally is starting with the platform that I know can accept the most characters. So I will usually start with something like LinkedIn and build out a post. Let's say I'm promoting a certain program. I'll build out a post regarding that specific program. And then I will copy that and literally put that into a Twitter thing and be like, okay, or I will, copy the little bits and pieces that I know are important and put them into a Twitter box and be like, okay, how can I adjust this content so that it fits to Twitter? Because you only have 280 characters. So kind of thinking in that, I'm not sure if that answers your question exactly, but that kind of helps me in knowing like, okay, like here's what's more important to me included in this tweet. Now, in terms of does something even need to go on LinkedIn or does it even need to go on Twitter? That is, really dependent on that platform. So if you're just throwing out a question, quick dissemination of information is always Twitter. And maybe something that you're wanting to have a wider, you want to give a ton of information and you want people to share it more with a professional network. Who are you trying to share it with it's important to ask here. Maybe you do like a big LinkedIn post and encourage the other professors that are in that program or in I'm using a lot of random hypotheticals here because I don't exactly know what, what you're doing or what you're posting from, or what, what you're trying to achieve here. But yeah, maybe you use LinkedIn and do like a longer form post and then encourage other people to share it, or it's really just kind of dependent on what you're sharing. So if you have like an example or something.
No, actually, I was speaking generally. So your hypotheticals were great. Thank you so much. Good stuff.
Cool.
I have a question, Maddie. This is Mark. So if someone only has time to do like one platform, if they want to start with just one, how would they decide what's the best one for their needs? Is there some kind of trick for deciding?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So kind of just, I would encourage you to just ask, like, those same questions that we asked at the beginning. What am I trying to do here? What am I trying, like, what do I want to get out of this? Who am I trying to attract? And what do I want them to do with that? So let's say I would always suggest, if you're like an IT professional, Twitter is a fantastic place to start. It's pretty straightforward. It has maintained its same, mostly its same parameters, and same feature usage and stuff. A lot of those have remained the same for years, whereas other platforms like Instagram specifically has gone in 1,000 different directions since its creation. So that's definitely a good place to start. And then you are wanting, more professional, more straightforward, whatever, and you want to stick to LinkedIn. I honestly wouldn't suggest any of you to go to Instagram unless you are really working with like a social media manager or something. Or if you've never touched Instagram before, that's what I mean. If you've been in it before, cool. But yeah, definitely, I would say that you guys are going to be wanting to stick to Twitter specifically, maybe go into LinkedIn. But really your audience, what you're trying to get across and who you're trying to be. Obviously, if you don't want to put yourself out there as yourself, you don't want to, have your students knowing that this is Mr. Smith, Professor Smith, whoever that's posting, you might not want to do LinkedIn. So it's just kind of lots of questions that you have to ask yourself, and, check the different boxes to see what platform is best for you.
Someone asked on chat box, do people still use Facebook? Is that still a thing?
So in terms of business growth or page growth or anything, I personally have seen that Facebook has come to a point where people go to it to see what their aunt's cousin sister is doing for Halloween or whatever. It's not really a place that you go anymore to look up a restaurant or look up a program, so for, again, this is program specific or organization business specific. Facebook might work for some. For me personally, none of my clients I've seen with successful Facebooks, because that's just not the type of people who are their audience, are not engaging in that manner on Facebook, specifically in the IT realm, is from personally what I have found. Now, again, some people may think otherwise. That's just my opinion, but I personally don't see it being relevant anymore, or it's becoming less relevant to put the time into Facebook.
I think one more question. Christina asks, if you have a social media account, how do you let people know it's even out there? I mean, how do you let people know, hey, I got a Twitter page now? How do you get the word out, in the real world that's out there?
Yeah, so, I mean, a great place to start is just by, one, connecting with your students, giving your students like a half a point or something if they follow you, or like just suggesting, hey, I'm going to be posting hints to a quiz every Wednesday or something. I don't know, like just, kind of giving little tidbits or little incentives for your students to go follow you. And then also that networking side, everything that I was, touching on when it comes to networking and engaging with those other accounts, that's huge. People will blindly follow someone. If you have, you have a photo on there, you look like a credible person who will post content that someone else wants to see, they're going to be following you. So continue to network. And even if you have 0 followers, go connect, go network, go find people in the field that you are wanting to engage with, or you are, organizations that are promoting programs the way that you want to promote your programs, and interact with those, and the more that you do that, the more you'll see other engagement to follow.